all of these elections, election of national officers and so on, what is the point of all of this? For me, the point of all of this would be to improve people's access to social services such as housing, education, and so on. I mean, if we do all of these elections and so on, and it does not directly result in uplifting the living standards of our people, there is a problem. The elections are meaningless and so on. Sometimes we talk and say that, oh, we've had a democratic practice for 30 years. In evaluating the impact of democracy on our society, we don't count years. We look at the lives of people. The transatlantic slave trade lasted for hundreds of years. The fact that it lasted for hundreds of years didn't mean that it was a sensible thing to happen and that it was beneficial. It has some benefits for humankind. Classical colonialism lasted for hundreds of years. So we don't count years. We count the concrete improvement in the lives of our people. And that's why I'm getting increasingly disappointed in the kind of politics that we are engaged in. I recall 1992, all the party congresses focused on policy issues. What is it that our party can do which is different from the other party, and which can assure us that people will feel that if we come to power, if we gain power, their lives should improve? Watch the party congresses these days. Policy issues don't feature. When they feature, just an announcement. The ayes have it. The so and so don't have it, and so on. There's no deliberate, serious policy discussions at party congresses. Party congresses have become avenues for personality clashes and personality choices and so on. And I'm getting very increasingly disappointed, with that. Of course, all of us will have to congratulate those who were elected by the NDC Congress, But that congratulation is not the beginning and the end of it all. The aesthetics also tell a lot of stories. Here we have the National Democratic Congress, which has actually boycotted IPAC meetings on the grounds that this electoral commission cannot be trusted to be neutral. Here we have the National Democratic Congress, which has consistently been attacking the credibility of the National Electoral Commission and so on. And I listened to the newly elected national chairman of the party at the Congress, where he made the point that there was a conspiracy between the judiciary, the NPP, and the Electoral Commission to rig the last election. And indeed, these three bodies rigged the last election. First of all, it didn't sit well with what he himself has said was a genuine tape which was leaked. There's a contradiction which needs to be resolved. But I'm not even going there. But then you have this Congress of the National Democratic Congress to elect officers of the party. And who is conducting the election? The same electoral commission that we don't trust. The same electoral commission which is working against the party.
So that's by law. That's by law for electoral commission to organize national elections, even up to the constituency level.
We don't have a choice.
For the
had a choice.
I'll be happy.
But I mean, you have the floor, please.
No, I'll be happy if you quote the relevant law.
It's not what he's saying.
I'll be happy if you quote the relevant law. The fact that there is a law which allows the Electoral Commission to organize elections in different things and so on does not mean that it is mandatory on the Commission to organize such elections. Why? These days, every institution organizing elections brings in the Electoral Commission. Ghana Journalists Association, we're going for an election. We brought in the Electoral Commission. If we didn't bring the Electoral Commission, would that have invalidated the results? It wouldn't. You understand? But I'm talking about the aesthetics. Aesthetics. I mean, if you're boycotting IPAC, and so on. Why don't you also use the same reasons that, oh, the Electoral Commission has the power to do this, the law says this, and so on, and go to IPAC in spite of your differences? Okay. So the aesthetics, as far as I'm concerned, did not show policy consistency and did not show logical consistency. Okay. And I'm not comfortable with that situation. Now, I've been having some conversations with some of my friends in the National Democratic Congress. And one of the things that I've said is that this Congress ended with the impression, rightly or wrongly, that the party has gone to elect fighters, militants, and so on. I think that's a problem. You know, of course, I mean, if your rights are trampled upon, if your rights are violated and so on, the Constitution itself enjoins all citizens to use all legitimate means possible, you know, in order to assert their rights and so on. But then, if you're going to go into the kind of elections that we are going to go into in 2024, and you start off with this impression that there's a problem, you know, you come fighting from behind. And I think that that's a problem. I think that the party itself does have a responsibility to ensure that that image it has created for itself is watered down. I think that is very important. Now, I've heard my two friends, in fact, these are my two genuine friends, two people that I relate to very, very well on this panel from the New Patriotic Party. And I've heard them speak about violence in our elections. And I'm surprised. Violence in Ghanaian elections is not NDC and it is not NPP. All of you are involved in it. If we go back and look at all the congresses that all of you have held and so on, there are many, many cases of violence that we can bring forward. You understand? So many cases of violence. So, violence is not associated with one political party. I recall in the run-up to the 2016 elections and so on, I recall leaders of the New Patriotic Party arguing publicly that they cannot trust the security services, and therefore they needed to create their own vigilante groups. And they did create their vigilante groups. At the end of the day, those vigilante groups attacked their party headquarters, beat their party people, damaged the vehicle of their own general secretary and so on. You understand? So, we should be uncomfortable with violence in our politics, but the approach is not just to play this blame game. The approach is for all of us to reflect on these causes of unnecessary violence, condemnable violence, and try to find a way out, you know, of this streak of violence that is doing irreparable damage, you know, to our politics. There's something else that worries me. And it came out very clearly in the message which was delivered by the New Patriotic Party delegation to the NDC Congress. And I hope all of you recall the New Patriotic Party offering to teach the NDC how to collate election results.
We are ready to give them that technical support. Actually.
You are repeating that here. You are repeating that here. I think that's an unfortunate statement, and let me explain to you. The collation of election results and announcement of election results is not the duty of any political party. That is the sole responsibility of the Electoral Commission. Okay? I know that now parties are engaged in hiring experts to collate results and so on. It is because of lack of confidence in the Electoral Commission. If all of us had confidence in the Electoral Commission and expected that the Electoral Commission would do the right thing, no party will collate election results. You understand? Now, to use that aberration now, as a basis for boasting and so on, it's a problem for me. No party has any legal responsibility to collate election results. No party. That's the sole responsibility of the Electoral Commission. And I felt very sad, when now parties come and say, we know how to collect results best. What is the Electoral Commission doing? Why is it that parties now are spending millions, on the collation of results? Because of lack of confidence in the system. Nobody has confidence in the system we are running. And that's why I'm very, very deeply, worried, about, these developments. Now, this election results by the NDC would obviously have consequences. Of course, there's no election result that doesn't have consequences. They will have consequences. And how we move forward depends on how the NDC deals with the consequences of its own elections. One of the things that we have to contend with is simply the fact that Mr. Asidun Ketia has been the General Secretary of the party for 17 years. Now, as General Secretary of the party, he was the Chief Executive of the party. All the executive powers of the party were vested in him. In fact, if you read the NDC constitution, the only function assigned to the national chairman is to preside over meetings. Check. So you need to say, if I lie, tell me. The only function assigned to the national chairman is to preside over meetings. Now, if you look at the language and everything around this election, General Mosquito obviously saw this as an elevation to a more powerful status. If you read the NDC constitution, it doesn't affirm that. Now, is he able to change his mindset as chief executive to a new mindset of a ceremonial leader? Is he able to do that? And if he's not able to do that, what will be the consequences? Given the fact that Mr. Fifi Kwete is not a walkover, he's somebody who has strong views, who believes strongly in what he believes in, and so on. So I'm wondering what the chemistry is going to be. I do hope, in the interest of Ghana, in the interest of all those who are going through all the problems that we are going through, that the chemistry will be good and that somebody will work at it. There's one more thing that is a bit disturbing. You have a court injunction against the swearing in of the national youth leader who was elected. And yet the party goes ahead and swears him in. Okay. Now I'm told that the party claims that injunctions are not served in the media. Okay. Which is true, injunctions are not served in the media. But there's a certain level of formalism which ignores reality. The formalism really, usually, ignores reality. And that's a problem. Okay? So, is the party saying that it was not aware of the injunction? Was it aware of the injunction? And if it was aware of the injunction, merely not being served, is this sufficient grounds for going against a court decision?
But Angus, that's not mere. Being served is not mere. I think, well, with a great respect to you, but I think that ideally you should be properly served before you acknowledge any suit against.
That's formalism.
Well, I get it, but it shouldn't be what you want. It should be what the norm is. Isn't it the case?
There's formalism and there's substance. You have to make the choices all the time. You understand? And that's the point that I'm making.
Right.
I'm not saying that swearing him in was wrong or right and so on. I'm just saying that sometimes it becomes important to go beyond formalism and to look at substance. Okay? Because ultimately, substance...
Can I get a word?
Pardon?
No, I'm just...
You people, you are doing what is done to me all the time. When my colleagues on panels are speaking, I just keep quiet and listen to them quietly.
No, in fact, the intention is not to interject. The intention is actually to request for a little time when you are done, so that I can smooth in exactly before he goes on a break.
I couldn't wait for that. I couldn't wait for that little time. But that's fine. It's not a problem at all. All of us are friends and so on. There's no problem. And then I think that the purpose of these discussions is to learn.
Yeah.
And many people come on panels like this and they think of themselves as being experts who are coming to teach and talk down to people and so on. My attitude is that this gives us an opportunity to learn together.
Right.
So I'm happy when I'm corrected. You understand? I'm always happy when somebody says something that I didn't know before and so on. But hey, we are looking at the NDC elections. I genuinely, honestly congratulate them. There's one thing which has come up, which is not, again, it's not an NDC problem, and it's not an NPP problem. It's a general problem that all the political parties have to come to grips with. I mean, I've seen the NPP going to Congress and parliamentarians going in droves to one presidential candidate's house to pledge allegiance and support. I've seen it.
They don't see that one.
I've
Kamau
seen
doesn't see that one.
NPP officers declaring support for one candidate or the other. Okay? I mean, recently we heard some of your people what they did. In fact, your last national elections, we got to know what some of the regional chairmen did publicly and openly, and so on.
He was out of the country. Kamau was out of the country.
But you just did that this morning. You just did that. You are in the country, but you just did that this morning.
You were accusing us a while ago, and that's what I'm saying, that when it was happening in your party, perhaps we were out of the country. Sorry.
But some of that is also happening in the NDC. And I feel wheezy about it. I think that in the final analysis, it dents democratic practice. You are going to go to a Congress. You have a number of candidates. So far as I can count, at least 3 candidates or 3 aspirants and so on. And everybody goes to the microphone and endorses one. Why should that be so? Even if you believe, look, I'm sitting here and I'll be honest with you. I'm not a hypocrite. Anybody who knows the ground, if you study the situation and so on, I think it would take a miracle to beat John Mahama at the Congress. But I'm an outsider. I'm a journalist. I can say it. I'm not a party official and so on. But for party officers, newly elected officers, how can you then make sure that the process is transparent, that everybody has the same chance, equal opportunity of contesting and so on? So I think we should watch that in our process. And I'm not speaking just to NDC, I'm speaking to all the political parties. That's an aberration. That is something we can undermine democratic practice seriously in our country, and then we should look at it. My brother, thank you.